welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are going to give you a preview of this year's season for the arts, and this time it will be the visual arts at Charles H. Taylor Gallery. My guest is James Warwick Jones. Welcome back.
Thank you, Robin. It's great to be here. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and so let's start by reminding people of the amazing things you do at that gallery for free.
Exactly. Well, exhibition's free, charge for some of the classes.
That's true.
But many of the programs are free. The public programs are all free.
Yeah, and the exhibit changes so frequently. Like, I'm amazed at how you and your staff of, kind of one managed to pull this off, because you have a new exhibit
It's about every 6 or 7 weeks. We do 7 each year.
Wow.
It's interesting, though, because I feel like I'm 30 again. Well, actually, Hampton Arts is 30. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary, which is very exciting. And I've been there as an employee, as a manager for 12 years. But I go back to the 30 years as an artist because I exhibited back in the day, 30 years ago, which was fun.
Well,
but
I remember when that building was still the library, before the library was built and before it became the Art Center. So I guess I've been going there off and on for 30 years also.
Well, and we still have people that come in just to see the library and enjoy that time and reminisce about it. But it's a wonderful building. It's one of the most beautiful buildings in Hampton, I think. It's classic Georgian architecture. We're getting a new coat of paint for anniversary.
Oh, that's exciting.
So it's going to really look sharp. They're just finishing that up, actually.
And the way you use those spaces, keep the old fireplace and all the windows and everything, and work the artwork around that and with that.
Exactly. We like to maintain the integrity of the building, at the same time adapt it to our uses. When I came there, they were basically 3 galleries. We've made some, without changing the footprint, some alterations to increase the space. So we can hang twice as many artworks now as we did 12 years ago. So that's exciting.
That's wonderful, because that's the thing I think that always surprises me, as many times as I've been there, is just how much that exhibit, you think you're done, and then there's more, and then there's more.
Exactly.
And it's layered, it's just really, really a lot there.
And then we have our studio space for our classes. We have classes for children and adults, and all media, and that's an important part of what we do.
And sometimes you teach those in the galleries too. I've seen that going on when
we
I've
have
been
yoga, photography, and drawing in the galleries at different times, and then the painting, the messy things upstairs in the studio. So the education is an important part of what we do. You mentioned the free programs, and we do, like Sunday, we're having a gallery talk. The artists for the current show will be coming in and talking about their work. We do that for every show. We have poetry inspired by art, where poets come in and write a poem inspired by an artwork. We have a bus trip to DC or Richmond twice a year to visit the museums. Ooh. We do a plein air paint out where artists come and paint outside twice a year, spring and fall. So there are a lot of public programs too that are available that are free. And the exhibition schedule is a combination of both kind of perennial things that we do every year.
Right.
And then there are always some new things. The current show right now, which will be through October the 8th, is the Virginia Artists Juried Exhibition. Most of the shows we do are local, regional artists. For Virginia artists, though, we reach out to the whole state of Virginia. Anybody that lives in Virginia can enter the show. This year
it is really competitive.
It's very competitive. This year we had over 600 entries. Only 100 were selected by the juror. And over the years, that's changed too. That's done digitally now, online.
Right.
Before that, it was slides. Before that was actual work. So it's changed a lot in 30 years.
Makes it easier for an artist to enter, I think, digitally, not having to ship a piece, especially if it's, sculpture is very, very tricky to ship.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And our next show after that will be small works and miniatures. This is one we've been doing a while too. And we time that with the holidays. It's a good time to, we really don't emphasize sales, but it's a time you can buy a nice piece very reasonably priced because of the size.
Right.
So that's all media, and that show will run into January.
But now you skip glass. That's my favorite. My annual favorite is the Glass Guild.
I'm glad you reminded me. And they're celebrating their 30th anniversary with us too. And that show has evolved. It's now also a juried show. And it's always exciting. The character of the show has changed much over 30 years. 30 years ago, it was mostly stained glass, more traditional
Really?
glass forms.
Yeah.
Today, it's much more contemporary, just like other artists changed. So there is installation work, video, mixed media, many different types of techniques in glass.
Well, I think Hampton Roads, you know, with the Chrysler Museum and the glass work there and the glass blowing there, really is a center for that. And the Glass Guild has changed. I mean, there really
Yes.
is a lot of interesting work.
And we have a lot of new artists this year, and a lot of it is generated by the Chrysler, the programs there, which are one of the most exciting ones in the state and the country for glass.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of new young artists working and learning there and participating. So that helps the Glass Guild too. Then after that, we have our Hampton Arts League. This is our arts organization. They have, every Tuesday morning, we have a group of 20 or 25 that come in and paint in the studio. No instructor. It's kind of a social and a creative.
So that kind of a peer advising.
Exactly,
Or, you know,
and
looking at each other.
very supportive, not competitive, very supportive. And they do other programs too with us at the Art Center. And then that's a big show because we have, and that membership has grown from about 100 to over 300 now in 30 years. So that's
Isn't
growing
that
also.
Wonderful.
So that's a large show. If every member enters, we have 300 pieces. So we limit the size of that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see people with their master's degree in art that are teaching in the university or college locally, or somebody who's showing the first painting they ever did in one of our painting classes.
So, and that's one of the things I really love about that is there's room for those of us who haven't really had the chance to learn or experiment or develop those artistic skills. That's still my retirement plan, just so you know, that I will have time to learn and paint or do glass and do really, you know, fun, creative things.
And we've got the perfect class there. We have a beginning, and it's billed as if you can't draw a straight line. That's the level.
One I need.
And it's a wonderful class. Anybody that completes that class will be able to draw and know a lot about drawing and art and have a good time. We're just a wonderful instructor for that class. And then what comes next? Artists who teach.
Oh, that's always a good one.
The expression is if you can't do, then you teach. But that's not really true in the art world.
It's not true.
Almost
It's
all
kind
of
of the way to have a guaranteed salary in the art world.
And many of the instructors teach either public schools or all the colleges and
College
universities
level, right.
nearby. So that's an interesting show, and that changes too because they're new instructors and their work evolves and changes. So that's another program we're happy to do every year.
So for people who can't remember everything you've said, we're gonna tell them that they can pick up this wonderful guide to this season's exhibits at the Charles H. Taylor Art Center. I keep calling it gallery, and we got a little glare on it. You can get this at the gallery.
Those are free at the Charles Taylor, and they're also distributed in the community restaurants and other galleries,
We can put some in the
libraries.
lobby of City Hall if you want. We've got that new exhibit there for entertainment and arts and tourism kind of events.
They're on the way. And the cover of that is actually the top award winner in last year's Artists Who Teach, who will be having a one-person show this
I love the way you do that.
next year, actually.
That deeper dive for the winners of some of those shows. Okay. Well, I don't want to cut you off, but I know that people are sitting here looking at the set because you have brought some artwork with us.
Yes.
And as always, I want to save a little time to talk about those pieces. So let's start on your right with this painting of people in a gallery.
And we're talking about times changing in 30 years. 30 years ago, you go to the museum, everybody would be looking intently at the work, getting right up close or standing back, talking about it. Today, when you go to the gallery, the museum, many of the people, especially people that are visiting from another country or here, and they want to record what they've done, so they use their iPhone. This is called iPhone art.
Oh my
So we
gosh.
have-
You know, that was not the first thing that stood out to me. To me, it was a traditional gallery. They were looking at the paintings and I was not focused in.
Yeah, but it's a very contemporary gallery. This
Yes.
is modern contemporary art, and Jerry Coulter has his MFA. He's taught at JMU for 55 years, and been in the show over the year. Mostly figurative work, very realistic, but again a very contemporary thing that places it very specifically in a time frame in the history of art.
Oh, it does, because you can see the front person is listening on probably
Could
to
be
one of those recorded.
Right.
Here's a little bit more about the art of the artist. You've got somebody else taking a picture of the work, and then in
Yeah.
the back, I'm going to guess she's texting or Instagramming. We don't know. Letting people
Probably.
know where she is, what she's doing, and what she's experiencing
Yes.
while she experiences it.
And I like the limited palette. It's kind of black, white, and red, this
Mm-hmm.
painting. So the artist has worked with a limited palette for the composition.
Yeah. Oh, and you know, the fashionista in me says, boy, those accessories just pop, don't
Right.
they?
Actually, when I go to a museum now, in addition to looking at the artwork and enjoying it, I've been photographing the visitors, and I've done actually a series of paintings of museum visitors, because they tend to be very fashion conscious and sometimes very contemporary or very traditional. So you get a really interesting mix of people.
Fascinating. Okay, and this one is also very realistic, the one in the front.
Okay, that's a
We've got
close-up
tight
of
shot of it,
A painting called The Muse. It's almost, we've gone from very contemporary subject matter, but a photorealist style. This is kind of an old master style painting, just beautifully painted.
It is. You can see the muscles in her back and arms and shoulders, and that contemplative look.
And this is a painting by Samantha Hand, who lives in Chesapeake. She's been in the show the last several years. This painting actually this year won the Realist Painting Award, and we give over $7,000 or almost $7,000 in awards.
Wow, that helps you attract those 600 people who want to be in the show.
That's what we're thinking. And also we give awards in different media: drawing, painting, photography, craft, sculpture. So that makes for a more diverse show too, which is something we enjoy doing with all of our shows. We don't really know who the muse is. I'm not sure if that's the artist. It could be,
Okay.
or maybe not, maybe a friend or an artist or a relative that inspires her.
Yeah.
But very, very beautifully painted.
It is, and you can see the light hitting her face and that kind of expression, and then the water behind almost is lit up.
Right.
I mean, it is really.
Combining the classic subjects in art: figure, portrait, and landscape. So that's a lovely little painting.
Okay, this one has already inspired some questions from the camera crew
Right.
before we even start talking about it. And I noticed it in different layers. I first saw the woman and, kind of a punk-ish, steampunk kind of a thing
Exactly.
going on in her outfit. And then I'm like, wait, there's fish. She is underwater. Or is she underwater? Because she's got a paintbrush?
That's right. We've had some interesting discussions about this one. And this one, in surrealism, you take an impossible or an unreal situation and you paint it so it looks real. And so this would be a surreal style painting, very beautifully painted. If you take out the fish, it would be perfectly realistic.
Right.
If you took out the woman, it could be perfectly realistic too, maybe underwater. But this is by Fowler, who I actually just met. This is the first time he's done the show. And I come to find out he was originally from Hampton. He went through the public school system in Hampton. I think it was in middle school. He did a portrait of each of his classmates in the class.
Oh, cool.
So I've never heard of that before. So most artists often start very young. And he has his degree in art now. He's living in Stafford, which is up in Northern Virginia, near Quantico. And one of the things we do is ask the artist to write an artist statement about their work. And I actually asked Toy, what's happening here? And he said, really, the fish are really the creative element in the painting. Everything else is painted pretty much like it is. It's an interesting juxtaposition of the figure with this kind of steampunk and kind of a very traditional landscape. But then the artist never paints what they see.
Right.
They interpret it in their own way. They express an idea or a feeling they have about it. So the fish represent the creative aspect where things are not as they are, but as the artist wants to portray them. Mm-hmm. Is that okay, cameraman? Very beautifully painted also. And this one's also a very limited palette. It's almost all earth tones.
It's very, it does have that sort of, except for her, that underwater feel where you don't have the brights, you know, where everything is a little muted. You're not getting as much sun in there.
And a lot of artists continue their training. Although he has his degree, his BFA, he's taken art since he's in Northern Virginia up at Alexandria at the Torpedo Factory, where they have wonderful classes and very classic kind of old master style of instruction for painting.
Yeah, it
So
looks
very,
that.
very beautifully painted.
Okay, and our final painting is very different. Not at all realism, not literal, but abstract.
And I brought today just works, not under glass,
Right.
because of the glare, but we have drawings, photographs, and I didn't bring any 3D, which is a little bit more complicated.
It's harder for you to, pack
We had
up
a
and
wonderful
bring.
piece that looks like a 1,000-pound weight, about the size of the little table there, and the illusion is, because it's propped up, it's being held up by helium balloons, and that's by Kristen Skis, who won the top award last year in having a one-person show.
Oh, wonderful.
I wanted to bring that piece, but couldn't do it.
Yeah, so that's just what people have to show up.
There you
People
go.
have to come to the gallery to see that.
I brought, 4 pieces today. There are 99 others to look at. This is a piece by Eloise Shelton Mayo, who's from Virginia Beach. And this one's an abstract piece, or totally non-objective. It might suggest something. It's called Memory Landscape. So it might remind you a little bit of a landscape you've seen before. And the medium is very interesting in this piece. It's cold wax and pigment. And another variation of that is encaustic, which goes way back in the history of art. It's interesting today, a lot of artists are kind of going back to an earlier technique, but using it in a very contemporary way.
Wow.
And Eloise has taught several of these workshops with us, just one-day workshops at the Art Center. Lovely color. This one has a pretty wide range of color, very painterly, a lot of texture. The wax itself lends itself to using texture, so you don't use a brush necessarily. You might use a palette knife or a putty knife or some other tool to work with.
I'm going to have to look at that up close
very-
when we're done. That's really
Very evocative,
interesting.
kind of suggest, looking at it reminds me a little bit of, for example, Yosemite all of a sudden.
Well,
But,
it is. Now that you say landscape, I see it. I didn't initially, but I still loved the color and shapes and light in it.
So this is just a little sampling of the show, and all of the shows are diverse. There's a lot of different mediums, usually many different artists, and hope people will come out and take a look at any time.
Anytime, meaning, let's talk about your hours.
Okay, we're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 5.
Geez, that is a great opportunity. People who work, people who are retired, people who want to drive at night.
Right.
You can't have a reason that you couldn't get there. If you can get out at all, it is a great thing. And if you can't get out, at least we brought you 4 paintings today.
And you can go also to our website, hamptonarts.net, and see a lot of information about the exhibitions and the
special
classes,
events and the
other programs,
classes.
sure.
And you can watch the e-news, and we'll try to get that information out to people as much as possible.
And we're now registering our classes online, so you can register online for classes
That
and
makes
the
it
bus trip and
just
such
that
too.
much easier. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Jan.
Robin. Great to be with you.
And thank you for watching. I know that it is a wonderful treat when we get to bring art to you in your home over the TV, but please make time to come to the gallery and see some of these shows. They are even more amazing in person. Thanks for watching.